I want to know how they got that bear in there. Do you think they put like treats for him? I hope it was nice.
I don't think that's how they got the bear in.
You don't think they put like a little bowl of tuna for him?
I don't know, but here's my thing. Realistically, they had that paralyzing agent for the human, put a larger dose in bait, and then follow it till it falls asleep, and then put it in the cage, carry the cage back.
At least he had a nice nap.
They would do it humanely.
It was funny because bears in cages, like wild bears in cages, would not have been sitting there as the camera and 57 people were around it with lighting and all that. The bear would have gotten out and they would have sacrificed way more than 9 people.
There would have been at least 13 more sacrifices.
Yeah.
God damn it, the bear got loose again.
This is the second summer solstice in a row.
Oh, no. It's shit on my ancestors' graves.
Who told the bear he could pee on that tree?
Guys, he's getting antsy. We've ran out of berries.
Quick, burn him alive.
We must sacrifice the bear. Yes, sacrifice the bear.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. I lied.
He touched the butt.
The Force will be with you, always. Why is the rum always gone? Go ahead. Make my day.
Little wasteful that they took the entrails out and didn't describe how they were going to use them in a holistic, approach to.
Oh, they bury them in the soil or whatever.
Yeah, but they could have made
like for Jurgen out of the intestine. Like, Jurgen, here is your new necktie.
Here's your new necktie. What is it?
It's bear.
Intestine. Watch out for the parasites.
Could make some nice sausage with that bear intestine.
Oh, man.
It's dangerous. They do carry a lot of worms and parasites and things. You have to cook bear meat through. You can't have any red in bear meat.
My favorite summer food is bear, actually.
My favorite summer food is not going to Sweden.
Well, this week we are going to Sweden because this is Midsommar.
We've been in Sweden. We're tripping our balls off.
We done just got back from Sweden.
Yes.
And the stories we're about to tell you might disturb some of our younger listeners.
It also might strangely follow along the plot with a movie that came out, but we did it first. We have to. Legal said we had to say it. Legal said we they said we had to say it.
All right. But yes, it is the final countdown of the Summer of EFB, and we figured we end it with Midsommar.
Let's celebrate summer by celebrating summer solstice.
Now, in hindsight, we should have done this in the middle of summer, but we didn't think about that
far ahead. Yeah. It's a relaxed working atmosphere here.
We don't schedule things and it shows.
Also a disclaimer, we didn't actually sacrifice anyone that didn't want to be sacrificed.
Yeah, legal said we also had to say that.
Yeah. At least 2 of them did volunteer. The other ones, it's, there's paperwork involved. It's fine.
The other ones, we thought we heard them say it one time.
Yeah, at some point they did say yes in a sentence, so we took that as
and
a go.
We clipped it and put it in front of words that I said.
If
you haven't seen Midsommar,
oh yeah, great movie.
Go watch it. Right, this isn't one of those ones where you can listen to the episode and then go watch the film.
Yeah,
you should go watch it.
Mm-hmm. Do yourself a favor. Don't watch it with anybody you're not comfortable with, because you're gonna see some stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna be uncomfortable.
You and your friends might get a nice chuckle out of this.
Also, probably not the best to watch before a holiday event, a birthday party,
on your anniversary. Don't want to watch
anniversary.
it.
No.
If you're not getting along with your significant other or partner or whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. Don't watch it.
I was gonna say that this was a movie that I had to watch at least 2 or 3 times before I really liked it. Because the first time Steve and I went to see it, we hated it after watching it the first time.
that was with my brother, right?
Yeah, we absolutely hated it. And I can't remember why exactly at this
Yeah.
point, because after watching it a few times, you're like, this is good.
I think it was
good
just a
story.
lot to take in
Yeah.
in your first watch, and like when it gets to that certain point, and we'll get to there, but once it gets to that certain point, you're kind of like, what the fuck am I watching?
And I like the overwhelmingness of the film
Yeah,
because our main character, from 17 seconds into the film, is immediately overwhelmed. Like we start out, and it's not like, hi, these are the characters that are going to be in the
Yeah,
movie.
no.
Here's
welcome
Tom.
to our story.
Tom works at a coffee shop, and he loves his job. And here's
No
the
intros.
no, nothing.
It's
Here's,
like, this is George. He's looking for a great summer getaway in Sweden.
Right?
His must include tripping balls in a field.
But it really sets you up for like the type of horror that they do, where it's like the feeling of horror and not like jump scares or anything like that.
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
it's the lean forward type horror movie, not the
Yeah.
lean back. Because there's
Yeah.
some horror movies where you go, whoa. And
Yeah.
this one's like,
Oh,
It's like, put me in there.
it's like, whoa.
yeah. It just makes you feel so many strong
Yeah.
emotions.
And Florence Pugh just does such a good job as the main character that within the commune, they're all like feeling each other's feelings. You start feeling how she's feeling towards like the middle of this movie, and you're just like, holy shit, girl.
We were all screaming.
Yeah, we got
We're
a
all
lot of
crying.
noise complaints. We were just
Moaning. There was a lot of noises.
a lot of shared feelings going on in
But
this room.
they did set the tone quickly, where they were like, none of it's positive.
Yeah.
You are going to watch someone suffering and then go do something to ease the suffering and end up with more suffering.
Yeah.
Just in a different country with a different culture and in a different environment. And then you get, what, like 3 seconds of, oh, good.
Yeah.
At the like, it's great. So we basically just start off with her life just absolutely going to pot. Like, it's
Yeah,
just,
her whole family just
she's
bad
got
situation. Who wants to say it?
right. She's got a bad.
Before we get to the family, I just want to say, like, the way they set up the relationship between her and Christian, like, you already feel the tension on the phone when, like, she's already upset. She's calling him, and he's just like, all right, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you don't like him immediately.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you can tell, like, this is the ending stage of a breakup. Even when they hang up and like all of his friends are like, dude, you need to just end this. Like, clearly you don't want this. Clearly, like, you're just in this for no particular reason. So like,
And if you can get a group of guy friends to actually verbalize that in public to another, it's a serious issue. If 3 other dudes are like, hey man, this is not what you want.
yeah,
But I like the fact that she leaves the message because her parents don't answer the phone.
right.
Then she calls, and so she doesn't get what she needs in that moment there with that phone call. Then she calls her boyfriend, who should provide her with what she needs
Yeah.
to be reassured about the situation or whatever. She does not get what she needs from him in that conversation. Then calls a friend.
And then complains
then-
about all of those other
And then
things.
Yeah.
complains about all that on top of, her sister who's bipolar sent her a
creepy
more
message.
a more scary than normal email. So they've dealt with this kind of problem in the family before, but this felt a little bit different. And obviously, we find out that it was a slightly different circumstance.
Yeah, why don't you tell us what happened, Danielle? Because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Let's just pawn this off on. You're the May Queen. You do it.
I am the May Queen. So, yeah, her whole family dies. Her sister goes little bipolar, and carbon dioxide,
Carbon
Yeah.
monoxide.
to the face.
She tapes up a bunch of hoses to the back of the family car, runs them through the house, puts one into the parents' bedroom and tapes up all the cracks in the door.
Then hooks up a mask so that she gets it directly. She
Yeah,
doesn't
to
bother
the-
with sealing herself in the room. She just
She just
takes
gets it.
a mat. It just tapes the hose to her mouth, and that's
Dude,
it. So
and just
she,
this camera work as it's going through the
You
house as
you
we're
follow
following
the
the
hoses.
firefighters,
Yep.
and like just hearing Florence screaming on the other end of that phone. You're just like, oh
Yeah.
it's
my
a
god,
it's
my
a
heart.
wailing of sorts. There's there's screaming and terror, screaming and sad, and then there's a wailing and grief that is
Yeah.
much different than any other noise humans make.
Yeah, she must have really gotten so deep to like
Like-
cry like that. She just really work herself up. Yeah, at one point you can just hear how like she's like gasping for air
Yeah.
and stuff, and
Well,
Like I
like,
said,
that's-
she actually killed her parents to get that out
Yeah.
on camera.
Well, and like that's the thing with Ari Aster. Like he gets such good responses out of his leading characters. Like look at what's her name from Hereditary. Like she gave an insane freaking
I'm convinced
performance.
she went crazy and that actually happened, and that was
Yeah.
a dude with a handheld gimbal just walking around filming the last 4 days of their lives.
But oh my god, yeah, and just with that cold open, then you just get like credits over a snowy wasteland. You get like Midsommar. It's not bright. It's not anything. They barely shove it in your face like, hey, the movie started. Good luck.
yeah, it actually starts very dark, and that's the last time it's dark because
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much symbolism in this movie, and that's one of the ways they just try to show Dani's life going from dark to light.
And one thing I noticed is there's a ton of small details that are just morbid, but you don't realize it until much later.
Right.
And the first, I mean, besides the whole like killing your parents and then committing suicide thing,
Yeah.
which is, not the best decision to make. The firefighter turning the one car off
Yeah.
and then going over to the second car. And
Yeah.
the second car, I was like, oh,
man.
which means she hooked everything up and she had to turn both cars on, which means she did the thing, had enough time to walk over to the other one and turn the second one on. And that just kind of adds to the level of morbidity. Like,
Yeah.
obviously it's terrible, but to turn one car on and then turn a second car, like that's just
Yeah.
extra. Ugh.
It's that extra step that really shows she cared.
Like you were saying, it just cuts to, like for this super dark portion, it goes to this, which is pretty much the rest of the film.
yeah,
of-
everything's bright. Like
everything's
it's a
in
horror
daylight.
movie that takes place in the day.
Yeah, so Dani finds out that her boyfriend's trying to go to Sweden. She's upset about it, but then she ends up going.
Yeah, he almost like it's like even him and his friends are like gaslighting her into feeling like it's okay for her to go. Like clearly they don't want her there.
Yeah.
And
But
if
how
one
do
of them
you say no to someone who's
I
like you can feel that from them where they're
Right.
like, we don't want you to come, but also your sister just killed your parents.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
so
all
how can we
alone
say, How can we
without-
say no
yeah.
to you?
Right. And like, even Christian's just like, oh yeah, well I invited her. She said she's gonna go, but she's definitely not gonna go.
And
Like-
then,
And then she
11
goes.
seconds later, she's like, yeah, I was thinking about it and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's like I think I'm
And
gonna
they were
go.
like, oh, okay.
And actually, the Swedish guy pretty much, I think, convinces her that she should go.
Pele's putting the moves on
Yeah.
her
He
from
had
minute
his eye
one.
on the prize the
Yes.
whole time.
Yep.
He was ready for it. He's like, all right, I'm gonna put Christian in a bear in about 9 days.
In 90 minutes, he's going to be in a bear.
But yeah, so they all decide. Well, he basically makes it like her fault. He's like, well, I told you I wanted to go, even though I was going back and forth. When you
Right.
found out, like,
Yep.
oh yeah, no, we were just thinking about it. But
And he's
now,
like, yeah, actually, I just decided.
yeah, it becomes a full blown decision between the car ride to the bar and their house.
That was a power move.
Yeah.
And then I like how
was a power
it was a
move.
power move. Gee whiz.
Oh
I like how some of the transitions in from scene to scene, like, okay, she's gonna go, and the first time we see her exit the house really is when she goes to that house party,
Yeah.
and then the Swedish fella reminds her of what happened.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I just got to go to the bathroom. And when the camera switches and the door closes, she's in the airplane bathroom.
Yeah, that was such a
having
cool
like a
shot.
same experience of. And Danielle said something where she was like, well, that's kind of how grief is. Like, time isn't really real because she's laying down. Oh, I didn't sleep, but it's time to go for a party. So she's been there all day, but now it's time to go to a party. Now she's on an airplane. Everything kind of blends together, and then, okay, here's the bright and sunny.
Yes.
Yeah. It starts out as like we've all seen it before, so we knew it happened.
Yeah.
But if you're watching it for the first time, you could 100% think this is where she finds herself. This is where she gets on the right track.
If you didn't know it was a horror movie,
changes her
I guess.
life, and technically she does.
She does.
But it might not be what we as the audience want for her and the people around her.
And if you go back to the very, very first scene of the movie, they do show a picture, which there's a lot of picture analogies and foreshadowing, whatever. And they show you exactly what happens in little scenes, but you don't realize that until after you've seen all the events.
Right.
Yeah, and you watch it a second time and you're like, they got me again.
You showed me the whole plot.
You showed me the whole plot. And now I'm seeing it.
There's a lot of that. If you look at all the pictures on the wall, it's literally giving you the same sort of images. A lot of bears and fires.
Yeah, there's a lot of continuous images that just keep popping up, and you're just like, all right, what are you trying to tell me?
A lot of it has to do with nature. A lot of it has to do with
the sun.
The sun.
Mm-hmm.
But
women. There's parts of women on these canvases and
Nude
things.
women?
But yeah, so they land in Sweden. Now they have a 4-hour car ride to just an open field where it seems like there's a lot of different Swedish people who went to America, grabbed a couple people, brought them back for this big celebration.
Curious.
Yes, it's like, how come there's only 4 outsiders?
They show, like the welcoming, the traditional blah, 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 or whatever. And this is the first time we see their experience with drugs as a part of the community.
Yeah.
So basically, they've been there for like 4 minutes, and they're like, hey, guys, here's some strangers. The strangers have drugs. We're all going to do it now.
Let's all take the drugs.
Okay.
From the strangers.
And like, even in this scene, like, you can cut the tension because like Florence is just like, no, like, you guys have fun. Like, I just want to kind of get my bearings before I start not being able to understand who I am.
Right.
And then they're all like, but we got to come up at the same time or else we'll have the same trip, bro.
And it's
bunch
like
of noobs.
Yeah, and it's
bunch
the one
of
time
first-timers.
It's the one time Christian actually is like, no, like, I'll wait. I'd rather like experience with you.
And I liked how he was like, well, we all need to come up together. And he was like, well,
you
do you want to
wait.
Do you want to wait for us?
Yeah.
And I was like,
least
okay,
he
that's
asked.
the one line where I don't want to strangle him.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, and then the fact that Florence is the one to be like, oh, no, like, I'm totally fine. Like, let's just do it. Like, she has to put her own comfort on the line just to make sure everybody else is feeling fine.
She is a typical people pleaser.
Yeah, like, you feel so freaking bad for her because she just wants to.
She's
like,
talking about going to the party. She's like, oh, I'll go to the party. And then there's a few other times where I'm just like, woman, stand up for yourself. Like, it's fine. Like, just do what you want and fuck them. Like,
what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when she finally.
What do you want? I'm a bird. I'm a bird, Steve.
Oh my god! But like this part when they're all tripping in the field there, and like this is the like few moments of levity that we actually get because the one kid is like freaking out and he's just like, oh fuck, it's a new person.
Hey, I don't want any new people right now. And then he says to his friend, can you lay down too? And it's like,
Come on, lay down
you
with
can't
me.
even see them while you're laying down, but you just need to know someone else is doing it.
Right.
They're like, I don't need new people. And the guy just walks by, high as balls,
Hello.
What's up?
and then keeps walking. So like it's this build up for something in his head, and it wasn't that bad.
There are
Yeah.
moments of like comedy like this that are just real life situations
Totally
and them
would
acting
happen.
just like normal people, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
And
no,
then they
it's
act
great.
like total douchebags sometimes.
Yeah, because like so she ends up going on a bad trip I forget what triggers her like panic attack this time. It was something about like somebody mentioned the word family and like just set her off. And then
I think it was the grass growing through her hand.
I mean, that could be it too.
Yeah, she just like sat up really fast and she's like,
Realized
like,
what was going on.
Yeah.
And then took off into the woods in a horror movie.
And this is like one of the, I think it's like the first time we start getting flashes of the sister.
Yep.
Like they just put this girl in the background of like certain shots in
Quite
like
a few
symbolism.
times,
Like it's
yeah.
insane. But like even after this bad trip and like she wakes up, they tell her like, oh yeah, well we found you like 6 hours ago.
yeah, she's totally disoriented. Like,
Yeah,
what
she has
time
no
is
idea
it?
what's
What
going
day
on.
is it?
And like even then everybody just seems annoyed.
They're
that
all
they
like
had to wait.
gaslighting her. The
Yeah.
whole time they're like, oh, you're fine.
It's
No,
like-
everything's good.
Everything's fine.
We definitely didn't find you passed out in the woods.
Yeah, and I just keep referring to him as smart guy. I never remember the guy's name, but he's just like sitting there like rubbing his eyes, like acting like, oh God, can we just get going? It's like,
Yeah. It's like,
dude,
come on,
she
bro.
didn't want to do the drugs in the first place, and you're just like, hey, do the drugs.
Also, nobody's irritated because you're on drugs. Like, you're on drugs. Like, everybody's like,
Yeah.
we found you a while ago, but it's chill. You were just sleeping. So we went and we got some water for you. We got a blanket, and everything's fine. No, they have to be dickheads. And
Yeah.
they're just like, whoa, you're harshing my mellow while I'm in Sweden. We're trying to join a cult here.
But you can tell they all like come down after that, and then they walk through the gates.
Yeah, of the Horgan.
Yes,
Horgan.
of the cult. And the flute music just like puts you in that like, whoa, we're here now.
Yeah.
They do that a lot with the music where it really is directly like, this is the feeling that we're trying to admit.
Yeah.
It's inside of you.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
weird chords that like when they hit together,
Ugh.
it just puts you on edge. Like
The
it-
dissonance.
Yeah, like it's not like they're just throwing terrible music at you. It's just the way they have it structured. You're just
It was
kinda like,
it was well done for sure. For sure, it was well done. But you're never from that point on. You're never fully comfortable, and you're never exactly sure. You have an idea of what's going to happen next,
Yeah.
and you have a clearer and clearer picture as the movie goes on.
right.
But at the start, we're like, okay, this could be totally normal. Like just some hippies out in
Yeah.
the woods, just
Just hanging
chilling,
out.
doing shrooms, and we're going to spend a week here with these guys. And
Yeah,
it's going to be
and
great.
They just keep passing around the tea.
Yeah, everybody's
their
being
thing.
drugged constantly.
Yeah, hey,
They're
that
having
was
a great
the
time.
that was the what did he say? What he was like, this is the like this isn't what he actually said. Like this is the goof around day before we start
Yes.
the
Yeah.
9-day festival. So it's
Yeah.
like these people were going hard already.
Yeah.
they were getting in touch with their roots.
This is like day one of Coachella coming up.
That was like the warm up rounds. Like,
Right.
Uh-huh.
They're like, this is where you get used to the feelings you're gonna feel for longer
This is
than
before
a
the
week.
porta potties become unusable.
Right?
before the ancestor tree is covered in piss.
Oh, it's just filled with that piss.
he's pissing on the ancestors.
Get your dirty dick out of here.
Dirty dick out of here. That's what we were saying. Like, there's some funny moments,
Mm.
and there's like some really funny moments,
Mm.
and then you immediately snap back into, all right,
Yeah.
we think they might be murdering.
Like, this is
Yeah.
definitely one of those situations, like, when they first start meeting everybody. Like, everybody is way too friendly, and it's like that type of friendly that just makes you go, like, all right, what do you want from me? Because there's no way you would be this nice to me just meeting a stranger.
I feel like you're gonna keep me or eat me. One of the other.
And they're all very white.
Yes.
It's Sweden.
The blonde hair and the blue eyes.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
I'm just saying that those communities are creepy.
There's a
Oh,
couple.
yeah, they freak me
They're all
out,
white.
man.
There's a couple brunettes. I'm not gonna lie. How you doing? What's up? A couple of them made it in there. All right.
Michael will be passing around his phone number later
Yeah.
to the organs.
I'd pass around my. It wouldn't be a cell phone.
Yes. But they basically explain to all of our outsiders, like, hey, how's it going? We're about to have a 9-day feast. It's going to be fun. You're going to see some shit. Let's all be friends. It's going to be cool. Take this tea. Don't ask any questions.
No questions. That barn over there, don't go in there. Don't ask about it. Okay, let's keep moving.
It's like, why is this bear in a cage? Don't worry about it. Just come over here.
One thing that I liked is, as a religious group, they were very open to new members, but also very firm with that you don't.
They were very firm.
They were
don't fuck with our stuff.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's not for you. You don't go in there. That's a holy place.
They basically give you one chance to be perfect.
Yeah. Also,
he should have kept his dirty dick in his pants.
Like, yeah, and I can't really blame him because it's like, I don't know.
This is our midsummer feast.
Well, not even
Everything
that. Like,
goes.
this guy welcomes you to his home and his family and his culture. It's like, I've been other places than where we live.
I've been to New Jersey.
I don't
They're
know.
a different culture.
I don't know what your culture is, but I am not going to be stepping on anybody's toes because I don't know what is permissible or not.
Right.
So, like, you're on your best behavior. And some of the stuff they did, it was kind of like, I get the American bullish, don't give a shit attitude, but it was like, some of us would have gone there and respected the culture and done fine.
Well, that wouldn't have made for good movie, Michael. So let's go through every time that somebody disrespected them and got...
I mean, just walking to this first ceremony, the fucking kid is hitting his vape and just spitting these huge clouds out.
It looks so out of place.
Yes,
because he's got some clunky electronic thing, and nobody smokes. Nobody drinks alcohol. There's just hallucinogenics.
A lot of shrooms.
Yeah,
it's quite a bit of shrooms.
And like
it's a lot of shrooms.
We start meeting some of the other dead meat characters that we're not going to talk about because you don't really get to learn them outside of Connie and Simon, I think their name is. But they're basically,
the couple.
Yeah, like they're going over how they met each other.
I didn't like them at all.
Yeah, and then there's like a
prick.
Yeah, and then there's like another situation where like Ingmar, the guy who brought them there, was just like, oh yeah, I used to love Connie. She was my best friend.
We used to, we actually dated when they met, and then quickly has to rescind that. Oh, I just meant we were friends.
Yeah,
you can chalk that up to the language barrier. That's fine.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you're just like,
yeah, but it's another instance of like Christian not knowing about his relationship. They're like, oh yeah, we've been together like 3.5 years, and he says it so confidently, and she just chimes in, no, it's been
4 years and 2 weeks, and I'm just like, all right, at that point, don't say that out loud because you don't want to embarrass him in front of other people. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
but he just consistently fails her on different levels from the start of the film.
Yeah, he's constantly not what she needs.
Yeah, it goes from like phone call disappointment to like real life, the one thing that's like a definite end of a relationship activity. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, but Pele also explains that like the Haran people have like a different way of looking at life. They view it as like a cycle. So they view it in seasons. So from a child to 18 is your spring phase. Then from, I actually wrote this down.
Oh, 18 to 36?
18 to 36 is your summer phase. Then 36 to 54 is when you go to work.
That's your working age.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then 54 to 72, you become a mentor. And then 72, what happens then? We give our lives to the earth.
Yeah, creepy. But the first mention of the death part of the cycle is what happens at 72. It's like, Yeah. And it's so nonchalant that she basically takes it as, well, what do all old people do? They sit on the porch, they drink tea, they trip their balls off and watch the ceremony. Like, yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
No, he actually meant...
Yeah.
the neck slicing motion.
Yeah.
But this is where the smart guy pisses me off because Pele goes, oh, tomorrow is the big festival. And like the smart guy pipes up. He's like, wait, like, are we going to see like a real one?
He goes, a real one?
And he's just like, yeah, it's going to be pretty real. And he just like keeps quiet from that. And like at that point, if you were a decent human being, you would go up to Dani and just be like, hey, listen, maybe you want to sit this out tomorrow.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to tell you what they're going to do, but maybe just don't come to this event.
He does admit later that he should have told her not to come, but he didn't think of it the first time. So,
But also, if she didn't experience the whole festivities, would she have been eligible to be the May Queen?
Ooh, that's a good question.
she had to be present at all the activities.
You gotta see,
And she was, because
She
she sees all of it.
yeah.
Mhm.
But like when we get to this ceremony, and like you just see like the old people, like, and the way they treat their elders, like they're really respecting these guys on their last day. Like everybody waits for them to eat, everybody waits for them to get up.
Everybody's seated. Then they bring the 2 honored guests,
Yeah.
and we can tell they're a little older.
Yeah.
They might look 72-ish.
They still look incredibly
They
hot.
look great. We decided it's from the enormous amount of psilocybin
Yes.
and the organic meat and
Yeah.
fruits and vegetables.
I just wish they were walking out of that yellow pyramid with like balloons that say like "Happy Birthday."
Happy birthday!
They got like
time.
little light up things
Time
on
for the
their head.
death cycle. But you're right though. Everybody's standing, then they sit, then everybody sits,
Right.
then they eat, then everybody eats, then they toast at the end.
Yeah.
And then you see them. You start to know. All right, maybe this is a little more intense than just dinner.
Yeah.
When they look at each other and put those glasses to each other's shoulders, you can see it in her eyes.
Yeah,
Like
she's crying.
she's welling up with tears,
Yeah.
and he has the male version of that look, where like it has the same intensity, just not the outward display of emotion, and you can kind of tell like he has so much to tell her,
Yeah.
but also they do look kind of happy to do it
Yeah.
because they know that they'll be reunited once again after this
Yeah.
fantastic
after the
ceremony that's not awkward at all for anybody.
let's just call it the synchronized diving.
Yeah.
They would have been great in
Well,
the Olympics.
It wasn't
Yeah.
quite synchronized. It would be better if they were synchronized, honestly. If they
Yeah.
just like got into the pike position and launched
Here we
themselves.
see 72-year-old
Her-
Sweden take the stand. He's in the pike position. He'll be doing 3 somersaults.
The judges will be tough with this one.
the judges were tough with the second one. Sheesh.
The first one lands. Oh wow, that's a 19
Oh
out
my
of 20.
God, as
not
Incredible.
even a splash.
As
Incredible.
the face explodes. Oh, that is what we call the reverse splash technique. Notice how all the blood stayed in the middle of the forehead. That's what we want.
Did not go on the walls behind them.
Very clean, very proper.
Very little deductions in this one.
I liked how they carried the elderly,
Yeah.
so they didn't have to walk the whole way up there. And
No,
then
that would piss me off. If I'm going to my desk, somebody better fucking carry me.
They do the Simba, where they
Yes.
get the blood and mark the stone, and yeah.
Anything your blood touches is yours.
And then the lady, it pans back and forth, I think maybe like 3 or 4 times, where the people are just looking up at this cliff like, oh, maybe something cool is going to happen.
And they do a really good job at showing the scale of it too, like how high it actually
Yeah,
is. And
that's
they
a good point.
they zoom out.
Yep.
And then they keep going back to Dani, and she's just getting more and more like anxious. She can feel that something's gonna happen.
She knows what's about to happen.
She's
here.
standing
Yeah.
still, and then you can see her start to look concerned. And then there's a breath quickening where she's starting to breathe heavy.
Yeah.
And then you see the lady show herself on
Yeah.
the cliff face.
And then
it was
Dani
such
just
a-
kind of like stops breathing.
Yeah,
It-
everything goes quiet.
I really like how both people that jump have like one last offering to the source, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Like, and they each do something different. So she does something, and then she does it correctly.
She kind of does one of
and
these.
guarantees instant.
Well, see,
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. So I think she's supposed to get the easy death, like land on your face, hit this rock, you're good to go. I think the man was supposed to drop like feet first, because like why else would you bring that big hammer to the ceremony?
I
Well,
think
and
it's just
I
like
don't know if it was on purpose that
Yeah.
they did that, because they both completed their cycle, and they didn't
Yeah.
tell us he did anything wrong per se.
Oh yeah, no, I just
I think
It
maybe
just
he
seemed-
just freaked out a little bit.
yeah, like it just seemed almost intentional because he just kind of like wee, and where she kind of
Yeah,
face
well,
planted.
it works
Yeah.
for the movie because they wanted to show you another.
And the 3 generations of hammer bearers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you think Hans just showed up. He's like, oh, I hope I get to use my hammer today.
Yeah, so he lands on his legs, and then you see him shrieking, and everybody starts shrieking because they mimic the emotion thing.
Because they can feel it,
This
too.
old man, I felt so bad for him.
Nah. He was fine.
He's puking up blood, and so then they brought over the hammer crew because it was like multiple people taking turns, like he was a pinata.
Yeah, I think it was his family. They came
great.
and they were the ones to take him
There's
out.
no definitive anything, but it's an older guy and then 2 younger people, a guy and a girl. So it's like every tradition gets passed down kind of
Yeah.
thing. And they each take a swing, and the first one, not so much smush. The second one,
Really
a lot of smush. And then one of them was left-handed, which was different than all the other people
Yeah.
that swung the hand. Just something I noticed. Some extra
No,
good
but
facts for the
just-
podcast, you know?
Just after every hit, the fact like it just cuts to Dani as she just kind of like gets more and more just.
Yeah, she just like totally starts to like stop feeling emotion at some point.
Yeah.
She just looks
goes
like
numb.
dead eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that has to
This-
be going into shock.
This
Yeah.
is where I wanted the 2 friends, Connie and whatever. This part pissed me off a little bit because you're in their country, witnessing their culture, and now you're ruining a spiritual closing ceremony for 2 people's lives, and you're making it about how uncomfortable you are.
Yeah.
And you need to shut the fuck up and let the cycle of life continue.
I mean, they
Like,
do
it-
really put the cult in culture because it
They
is
smashed it in there with a hammer.
yeah,
actually.
it's not like it's not a normal cultural thing to happen. I don't think it. I think that is like a cult specific thing, but
This is actually in my will of how I want to go
Oh, yeah?
out. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna-
Yeah.
I want somebody to crack me open like a fucking
Hey,
crab.
Steve, we're 72. Do you know any hills?
Yeah, I grew up near one.
We're gonna
A lot
need
of
people
bridges.
to carry us to the top of the hill.
bring the big
Got
wooden
an
mallet,
hour.
just in case I survive.
Did you take that with you, or do I have the big mallet?
No, we'll make one together.
We'll make one together.
Yeah,
Okay.
It'll be
Hard
fun.
work prepares us for the next life.
Oh my
but
God.
yeah. So this couple starts freaking out, and the dude's screaming,
Yeah.
and
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 he's
not
like-
quite.
he's
Like
like,
he's
"Don't
disturbing. He's
Yeah.
disturbing the whole thing, and it
But-
legit pissed me off.
and he does that actually between the 2, so it kind of like throws off the other guy's steez, and like
the other guy's steez.
You can see members of the community being like, "What is he doing?
Yeah,
it's like,
this
why is he-
What is he do? He's
Yeah.
ruining. He's making it about himself when it's clearly about them,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
very selfish."
Yeah, and like the priestess at this point takes like a moment to explain it to him. It's like, listen, no, we want to do this. We're excited to do this. This is
And
part of our culture.
She
like,
also said someone should have explained this to you before
yeah,
we did
yeah.
it.
She gets mad at Ingrid.
My bad, bro. My bad.
Yeah.
And she's like, you didn't tell them what was gonna
What?
happen. And he's like, well, I tried to explain it. And it's like, no,
No,
you
you
fucking
didn't.
didn't.
He didn't.
That doesn't explain jumping off a
Yeah.
cliff and getting smashed with a mallet. That's not
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
a good description.
But basically, after this, let's just say tensions are high amongst our guests.
Yeah, some of them freak out.
Yeah.
Dani freaks out a good bit.
Yeah, she's
and-
like, I have to leave.
and
this
the
place."
boyfriend's just like, oh wow, geez, that sucked. Anyway,
Oh my god.
Also, I need to do my thesis.
Oh yeah, this is the other part where he goes into Smart Guy and he's just like, "Whoa, bro, that was crazy." Anyway, I'm stealing your topic for the thesis. If you'd like to collaborate with me, that's cool too. But I'm taking your thesis, and like it starts this whole like petty squabbling where like the Smart Guy actually calls him out. He's like, you're kind of being an asshole. Like you're just
Right.
too lazy to think of your own thing.
And this is kind of the smart guy's downfall here.
Yeah.
Because I think now he wants to get the upper hand on it,
Mhm.
and that's why he asks to see the holy whatever,
Yeah.
because his thesis gets accepted or whatever, and he goes and does this without the other dude.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's
it's
a
his
bunch of
thirst
weird
for
shit.
knowledge.
Yeah.
yeah,
a bunch of weird shit happens, but basically there's two kind of new things that happen. everybody's uncomfortable. So that's just blanket across the board. But the redhead puts the love rune under dude's bed and starts this kind of storyline here.
Yeah, that kind of branches off into the virgin storyline.
He goes and gets an explanation of their religious tablets and religious writings.
Yeah. So we're kind of finding out all these different elements of what's going on with different characters.
And we already know it's weird because they're smashing old people with hammers, but it kind of lets you know that this is all by design. Here's the design, and that's where they explain, like, the oracles are members of the community, but they're inbreeding.
Yeah.
No, we do it on purpose because that way their mind can be unclouded by regular cognition.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bullshit excuse.
And this is also like a part in the story where Pele is really trying to put like the moves on Dani, and he's like, after this whole like face smashing shit, he's like, hey,
he's
don't worry.
the one to console her.
Yeah,
kind
and
of,
like you know, he drew her a picture for his birthday. He of course brings up, hey, don't worry, like my
keep
parents
this
died
between
too.
us.
Yeah, and then you know you get that scene later where Christian's like talking to Pele, and he's like, hey, I just thought you should know, like, today's your birthday. You should probably fucking know something.
Which is like decent, bro.
Yeah,
like, that's decent, bro. There.
But I mean, I think he's doing a little more than looking out for his bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's ulterior motives. He wants that new seed.
Yeah, because like you hear
DNA.
Christian go like, oh shit, did she say something to you? And he's like, oh no,
nothing,
Just
no.
letting you know, because he wants him to go do it late.
Yeah.
And then they have even more problems.
Right.
Which, if he'd have just had better game, he wouldn't have had to worry about it. Like, Swedish guys ain't got no game.
Yeah. But this is the part where this redhead that we've been seeing in the background of the movies, you know, she's cursing Christian with this love ruin. The smart guy sees it and then hides it from Christian.
Yeah.
So he's gonna use it for like his thesis.
He's pissed.
He's trying to figure out what it is.
Hey, what's this? Oh, that's a
Yeah.
love rune. My sister, where was it? It was under Christian's bed.
Yeah, and like you can see it in Pele's face. He's just like, oh.
It just so happens that this year she's allowed to have sex now.
Yeah, Christian's
like,
gonna fuck my sister. Hey, let's make him a feast.
I think he's gonna need a little help from the community.
Oh my god. But yeah, and then you know, we get another shot of like the dead bodies getting burned. They're getting their ashes to put on this tree.
Ritualistic.
Yeah.
You're right.
And this is the tree pissing part.
Yay! We're pissing on a tree.
So first, actually, the couple gets they disrespect the cult.
Yeah.
And then the guy goes missing.
Oh yeah, and he gives him like some stupid reasoning. He's just like, oh yeah, the truck
truck
only fits 2 people.
And he just
could have
left.
sat on his lap.
But we're gonna take you. So they both basically disappear.
Yeah.
And it's
within-
brought up casually, but people don't really worry about it. So then this next guy, when he pees on the tree, you're like, oh,
he's gotta be
disrespected
gone.
them. He's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
get
like,
taken away.
Disrespect number 2.
God.
Yeah.
And like, you know, he's just like, what? It's just a fucking tree. I had to piss. I didn't know it was like a thing. And like Pele has to be like, no, dude, like yes, it is just a tree, but it means
it's
something
also
to us.
Houses
So, like,
the ashes of the whole cult's ancestors.
Yeah.
And clearly they're into the other members of the community a little more than regular society.
Yeah. And we get another instance of Christian just gaslighting Dani. She comes up to him and she's like, hey, you know, Connie was in like a really upset mood. Simon just left her. Like, what
happened?
Like, what's going on? And he's just like, you know, I'm not really concerned about that. Anyway, so
That's basically
That's
how
what
it
he
was.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what a dick move.
yeah.
Well, I was asking questions about my thesis before this woman interrupted me.
Oh
Can we
my
get back to
God.
my topic?
Like, you just want to smack this guy and be like, just fucking pay attention. Her family was murdered.
And he's like, oh my God, you're being so annoying right
It's like,
now, babe.
listen, babe, I'm sure they're fine. Anyway, when you guys brush your teeth, is it left to right or right to left? And the guy's just like, oh yeah, our ancestors always told us right to left. He's like, very interesting, cool.
But like they eat all of their meals at this huge table.
Oh,
and
I love this table.
yeah, something different's always going on.
But like, I love this part because like, I just know the actor Will Porter, the fucking vape guy. It's like he's getting
The
just
vape
fucking
guy.
beams blasted at him from across the table.
Dude's just
Yeah.
staring into his soul.
He
The
just
guy's
like-
still looking at him.
He's like, I think he's gonna kill me, dude.
He's gonna kill me.
And he calls it,
Yeah, he
man.
fucking gets him.
And guess what?
This girl
He
just
died.
comes over. Follow me, please.
He's like, I will show you.
Come
He's
with
like,
me.
wait, what's going on?
I'll show
I
you.
will show you. And
Come
he just
along.
gets up
He just
Yeah.
and
walks
follows her. It's like,
Just
first of all,
blindly.
different country. You don't know where your way around.
Yeah.
Then you get taken off camera,
Yeah.
which is really bad for a documentary about a cult.
You don't want to be taken to a secondary location.
No, that's really bad because they don't find you until the third act when they
Yeah.
reveal all the
Oh my
stuff.
God.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this is where Christian's getting more of the love spell put on him. Like, you notice his drink's a little bit different. He pulls a hair out of his food. You're
His
just
drink
kinda,
is a lot different.
It does. I think we've kind of alluded to the sexual nature of all of this, but like
There's nudity.
it's there's a bunch of nudity. It's not a regular hair.
Yeah.
In his meat pie.
Mm.
We see a picture of a woman bleeding into a cup on the wall, and then you notice his drink's a little more of a reddish hue,
more
and you're like,
red-tinged.
oh no,
Yeah.
oh, that better not be. It is. It's
Yeah.
exactly what you think,
Yeah.
and they did it for real in the movie.
It had to be authentic.
Oh my God. And you can tell, like, it's like, buddy, you're going to drink this. Don't ask what's in it. He's like,
Okay.
is this in my contract? It is.
It is. Should have read it. Your lawyer's not
like,
that good.
Yeah. And like, you can tell tensions have really grown in the group, especially now that they're both working on their thesis.
And
It's like,
the two friends are mad at him. She's mad at him. The other friend's mad at him. The other people have disappeared.
Yeah.
Well,
Dude's
I
trying to
love-
snake his girl. Girl's trying to snake her dude. Like, it's just a mess.
I just love that Dani finally takes a shot at him. And he's just like,
It's-
why would he just leave her? And he's just like, whatever. It like, something's happened. And she's like, I could picture you doing something like that.
And that's the only thing we're proud of her for doing
Yeah.
until the last 30 seconds of the film.
Yeah.
But that one little line isn't enough to have that in your head at the end of the movie either. That's
Yeah.
not, I mean, you know what's going to happen, but that one line, you're proud of her in the moment,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to, oh, right, I forgot this is
Yeah,
this
like
is a
shit's
little
about to happen.
weird.
Yeah, because this is where smart guy, you know something's up because he goes to bed in his shoes, and then he like sneaks out in the middle of the night to take photos of their sacred text, which is a big no-no.
Big
he
no.
legit
He asked him, and he said no, absolutely
and he goes,
not.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was just asking. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you should have stopped there, dude.
He sneaks back in. So he snuck in, and he's taking pictures, and then Christian comes in, and hey, what are you doing? And then they put a little more light on the
Yeah.
character, and
Oh.
he go,
You're not wearing pants, bud.
his wiener's out. The guy's
Yeah.
he's got his wiener out. We get full frontal.
we
Yeah.
realize he's wearing Vape Guy's skin.
Yeah, he walks up, and until then, when the camera comes from up underneath,
Yeah.
and even then, it doesn't look like whoever took the skin off
Did a really good job.
did a really good job. Whoever
clean.
put the skin on did a really good job, because that's not. Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
it's like
him.
the
like-
nakedness doesn't like anybody can take their pants
it
off.
took a little bit to realize the eyes blinking
When they
were
blink and
underneath the
Underneath
eyelids.
Yeah.
the eyelids.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Oh yeah, and they cracked this dude in the back of the head with a hammer. These guys really like their hammers.
He bonked him right on the top of the head. One thing,
Yeah.
he would have been snoring, not gasping. Just one thing. Really bad concussion.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
more
if he
of a
didn't leave his
snoring.
bed, he also would have been snoring
I
instead.
mean,
of
his
gasping.
brains were spilling out of his head, so who knows what his
Yeah.
body would be doing, really.
Well, he would have been snoring big time. And then he's laying there. You watch him bleed a bit, and then just
He's
there he
gone.
goes.
Just gone.
Yeah.
Off camera. Guess what? We'll never see him ever again.
Yeah, once they get taken, you will then find them later
If
not alive.
Yeah.
if you're in this scene but not the next scene, you're dead.
Yeah.
I will say, after these last two guys disappear, this is where the movie ramps up to about a 12 and 1,000.
Right.
Because like, you're like they wake up in the morning, they seem almost unconcerned that the friends haven't come back. Now the village is gaslighting them into thinking, oh,
And-
somebody stole our sacred text. Like, this is why your friends are missing. Don't ask any more questions.
Yeah.
And then this is the most like if you're a complete idiot and you like Christian, this is the moment where they're like, we're going to say it louder for the people in the back. You know, your friend's not here and the thing's missing. That looks really bad. Well, I just want you to know that had nothing to do with us.
Actually, I hate that guy. I don't even know him, honestly.
He literally says,
Yeah.
we are not attached to him in any way.
Yeah.
He was not a friend of ours. We
Yeah.
don't want to be compared or
Yeah,
however
we're
he
not
phrases it.
collaborators.
We're not collaborating, which is
Yeah.
the words he used to like get into that situation
Yeah.
and be able to do his PhD.
Yeah,
and then
they're
he
just
uses
showing-
it again to like separate himself from it, and we're just like, okay, so they really want us to hate this guy. All right,
Yeah.
we definitely hate this guy now.
Yeah, they're really showing all of the ways that he's just saying what the people that he's around wants to hear.
Yeah. He's doing what Danny's doing, but to like the dickhead side of it. She's
Yep.
trying to people please. He's just trying to get people
Weasel
to.
his way.
Yeah.
Not murder him.
Yeah.
No.
It turns out, failed.
Yeah. But at this point, they're just like, all right, Danny, you're going with the women. You're going to hang out with them for the day at
day's
Woodstock.
activities.
Christian,
It's
you're going to go into this
Woodstock.
building and get talked about how you're about to impregnate somebody. Good luck with that.
And
Yeah.
what's funny is he didn't even ask the like one of the mentors of the community didn't ask if they had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And he just offers up these excuses.
Yeah.
And then when he goes and he sits down with the head maiden or whatever
Yeah.
her name is, she doesn't say a word, and he just goes, I just want to say I had
Yeah.
Nothing to do with this.
had nothing to do. And like,
Yeah,
that
he's-
means
like-
that means you're lying.
Yeah.
I think Ari Aster went up to this guy and was just like, all right, asshole. It's like,
I can do that.
It's like, all right, cool.
That's the only note for the whole film. It's like,
Be
can
an
we
asshole.
do that, but a little more asshole?
Can you give me 23% more asshole?
I really need you to believe that you're in the right here. But yeah,
And she basically, like, no, like, you're not in trouble. We need you to get someone pregnant.
yeah, like, what do you
Yeah.
think of this redhead down the corner?
Right.
Like, hey, you wanna do some
they
stuff?
said she's of age, and she set her eyes on you or whatever. So it's like, all right, I guess I'll go into the sex barn.
Yeah, so we needed a new ritual today, and today's ritual is
Line dancing.
yeah.
It's not line dancing. It's
dancing.
interesting line dancing. There was one line, and they were not watching dancing.
Listen, I'm not a fan of the Cupid Shuffle either, but different cultures, they got to do their dance.
Different strokes for different folks, and they make sure you do the strokes right.
Yeah, but they, Danny gets taken away with the women. They all take like their mushroom tea. They're all dancing around, and then she of course becomes our May Queen from this big ceremony. So she gets pushed away. But this is kind of like where Christian starts taking the Danny role, where he's now on the outside as she's starting to get accepted, and people want to be around her.
How do you like
Yeah,
it?
'cause, like-
Shoes on the other foot, huh?
Yeah. And like you can tell, like, he's sitting there watching them do this dance after he had that like really uncomfortable meeting, and like he doesn't want to do the drugs, but the girl's just like, no, trust me, no, you're gonna do these.
He even said like, "Oh, I don't want to have a bad trip," and she's just like, "You won't."
No.
Well,
Also,
trust me,
like-
you won't.
Yeah.
We don't care.
And even Pele sitting next to him is giving this guy no attention. You can tell like Christian is just freaking out. He's not comfortable, and Pele's just like, yo, dude, your girlfriend's hot, man.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. So this was where they start explaining the source a little bit, where they're like, I think they say the Dark One came and like put a spell or influenced people.
Seduced
where
everyone to dance.
to dance until they died.
Yeah.
So we throw it back in his face as we survive to dance until we fall over,
Right.
but we get up again.
Yeah.
And the last one standing will be the May Queen. And
For her stamina.
shocking, the main character of the film wins the dance competition and then gets to wear dope shit
And they
the
saved
rest
the
of the
community
movie.
center.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they get the last donation They
Oh,
can
my
keep the
God.
lights on.
And they saved Jazz.
They did.
No, but I love this part because like she's dancing around and the one lady who's being really friendly to her starts speaking Swedish and Danny's like, I don't speak Swedish, and she's like, would you like to? And then Danny just starts speaking
And
Swedish.
she's like, we don't need words. We're communicating through dance. And I'm just like, is this
Yeah.
Grease?
I was like,
Is
this
this-
is fucking cool.
And I don't know if we said, but right before this, the one girl says to Danny, "This is the big one."
Yeah,
yeah.
You're
That was
about
funny.
to really trip.
And while we were watching the movie, I was just like, and when the experienced tripper says this is the big one, you're about to go for a fucking ride.
Yeah.
Hold on to your tits.
Yeah. But this is when they throw this big feast in honor of Danny. She's been crowned our May Queen. She's now the center of attention. Everybody's waiting on her lead, like to sit down, to eat, to drink, to do
She's
whatever.
starting to feel the empowerment.
Yes.
Well, when she sits down in that chair, you can feel her feel the
Yeah.
chair,
Oh.
and she's like, oh, right.
Yeah. Everything has been wiggly for about
Right.
like 45 minutes
Right.
at this point in the
If you're
movie.
motion sensitive,
This is gonna get uncomfortable.
just look
Yeah.
at the middle of the screen.
Yeah. Look
Yeah.
at Danny.
Don't look at
because-
anything else.
Yeah. Everything around Danny is moving. Focus on Danny.
Yeah, the leaves are moving and like the flower crown is moving.
Yeah, it's like
I'm sure
reacting to
Michael
her
will
touch.
No.
do that in post
And
for me.
Michael won't, because Michael doesn't want the people watching this to puke. I already thought about it. Let's make the whole background wiggle.
Woo.
Yeah.
It's like most people made it 11 minutes in and then vomited.
Mm. But it's actually kind of cool how sometimes it's like small, quick little wiggles and things moving, and other times it's just like the big
The
like
whole-
swirls.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to say don't do drugs, kids,
But try it once.
but that is what it's like when you take something psychedelic. And you kind of go through these different phases, and they really kind of like show a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Depending on what it is and what your body weight and what
Mm.
dosage you took, and we are not recommending it, but it's way closer than the kaleidoscope montages
Yeah.
that you see in like late 70s
Yeah.
films
yeah.
and things
Yeah.
like that. It's much more subtle. The
Uh-huh.
planet's still there,
Mm.
It's just woo.
but when you
Yeah.
but you don't notice it until you look at something,
Mm.
and then you can see it move.
Yeah.
And then something catches your eye. When you
You're like,
focus on
"Whoa."
that, you see that
Yeah.
move.
It was fucking nuts.
Mhm.
But
It was pretty cool.
yeah. And then Christian just kind of like stumbles into this table. Nobody waited for him. Nobody gave a shit about him. And like, you know, even Danny's looking at him like, good, you little worm.
He's-
I hope you feel
She's
uncomfortable.
looking through him.
Yeah. And like, she's finally seeing him for what he actually is, I think, in this moment.
Little
Mm.
tiny bitch boy.
Yeah. Because like,
Nobody likes
you know,
him.
the redhead girl gets up from the table and she goes off to the bar, and you see
To
Christian.
get ready.
Yeah. And like, you see Christian looking at her like, oh God, here we go. This is real. They weren't kidding.
And he is like peak, I think, at this
Oh
point.
my God, yeah. And they just keep giving him more and more shit. Like
Yeah.
they're fucking this kid up.
Yeah.
And like at this point they're like, okay, Danny, now's your time. Like, go in the wagon. You got to go bless the harvest. Like, do
Mhm.
whatever. And she's like, can Christian come with me? And they're like, nope.
Nope,
You got to
don't
go
ask
alone.
why.
Yeah. Like, don't worry about him. Like, we'll take care of him. Like, you have to do this on your own. So she gets whisked away. And while she's getting whisked away, they're like, all right, Christian, now's your time to shine. Time to get them loins really ready.
They like line up a row of elders.
Oh my God.
To,
It's a
uh,
harem, basically.
Yeah.
It's like this whole other ritual where they like have some smoke in his face that
For
just-
vitality.
Yes.
Woohoo.
Yes. You see his health bar fill up.
But like, this is okay. I think this was kind of the part when we first saw this that I think took us out of it, and we were just kind of like, oh, what the fuck are we watching?
Yeah.
Because when those doors open and it's just a line of naked people just
All
swaying and
singing.
singing, and you just see Christian like get naked, and he's like, I'm like, okay, no, we're not gonna watch this, are
It's gonna
we?
be weird. And then they show you
No,
the whole thing.
we get to
Yeah.
watch
Everything.
from start to finish.
Everything but the penetration.
Well, yeah. It's
Oh my God! And you
it had
have,
to be showed in theaters.
Yeah.
I like you have like these comparisons going on right now because like Dani gets back from her blessing trip. She sees Christian having sex with this girl. She's going through an insane mental breakdown. All the other women follow her into the room. They're all screaming and feeling her pain. And then it cuts from them screaming in pain to all the other women going, huh?
It was
And then
actually way cooler than that.
And
but
then
yeah.
he starts doing it,
And
and,
then
they're all
he's,
echoing
"Huh?"
each other.
I think my favorite part of the sex barn was
The sex
Like-
barn.
right
was.
right when they start. The young lady has her hand up in the air, and he reaches for it, but a member
Yeah.
of the harem comes down and holds it against her face
And starts
and
singing in
starts
his face.
singing.
And then just his eyes are just like,
And so when he it's a delayed reaction, and then he looks up and he does such a good job at just like, what on earth is going? And then after a while, he's like, okay, I'm okay with this, and then gets back into it.
Yeah.
And then they all start doing some stuff, and then
Then Granny goodness
Granny
over
comes
here.
up and just gooses him a little bit.
and he's like, "Woo."
And the same thing where you can't see my eyes, but they're as big as these sunglasses. He's just like, that's new. That's just
hey.
no.
Granny, I don't really like the finger in there. Can you I'm trying to finish here.
This wasn't for
Try to
pleasure. This was for getting a different
She's
bloodline.
just like,
in Steve.
get in my daughter. Go.
God.
It wasn't that crude at all. It was a beautiful scene.
It wasn't.
No,
at
it was
entering
crude.
another
It was
bloodline into the cult.
Oh my god.
You have to look at it through their lens, okay?
But
he
I-
was on way too many drugs to
Yeah.
give consent.
Yeah.
But nobody cared because he's a guy.
Yeah. Well, once he gets that post-nut clarity, his world comes crashing
Yeah,
down.
Exactly
just-
what I said.
They send him out butt naked. They don't even give
But
him a robe.
he didn't even get sent out. He just
He
Yeah,
ran.
He just ran.
and it's
Once she was like, I can feel the baby, he's like, oh, fuck.
well, he was done, and it kind of came to his senses, and then ran out. And I liked that he didn't realize his nakedness for a little bit. Like he
Yeah.
runs out and he's standing there, and then he turns one way, turns the other way, and then you see him go, "Oh right," and then
Cover
covers
the dick.
himself up and runs towards the camera. I like that part where it was like each different moment in that barn took him a little bit. Because he's on so much drugs that they were just feeding him for like 9 days at this point, so he was a little slow on the realization.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, but they knock him out after he goes on his little naked escapade.
Yeah, so this is where we start finding all the people
Yep.
that disappeared.
Yeah, he gets the final girl treatment.
Yeah, I will say Michael said that Dani sees everything. The one thing she doesn't see is all of her friends dead.
Yeah.
She doesn't see any of that.
That would have prevented her from
Yeah.
doing what they needed her to do,
They were like
yeah, he-
protecting her from seeing
Yeah.
anything.
except for the people jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
So he runs into this like barn like thing,
Mm.
and you see whatever that dude that we didn't really care about and we wanted him to
Yeah.
die anyways. He got blood eagled and strung up
Ooh,
in the chicken coop.
yeah.
And his
was a
eyes
lot.
are out, and there's flowers in his eyes, and you can
Mm.
see his lungs still breathing, so he's
Yeah.
still alive. But he got full blood eagled. They find him, blow some. What's the
Powder.
zombie drug?
I don't know.
Kratom or something like that.
Kratom.
Kratom. They blow some of that in his face,
Don't worry, it's legal.
and he falls
Kratom.
over. And this is my favorite scene in the whole movie. Is he falls over, the camera's kind of on its side a little bit, and then the guy comes up and closes each of his eyelids, and
Yeah.
half of your television will go black, and then the other half. I love that.
And then-
it was just so cool.
And then it pans to the next scene, and then she opens the eyeballs, and you see them
She's like,
open one at a
Don't
time.
worry, you can't talk or move. All right, cool. Bye.
Bye.
And then she's just
And then
smiling
backs
and
up.
backs up. Gets into line.
Let's all hold hands. We're gonna do some murders now.
But we're at the end here. Dani is still our May Queen. She's in this huge flower dress.
Dope.
And
Pretty cool.
she has to make a decision. Are we going to sacrifice a member of the tribe, or are we going to
Tribe.
or are we going to sacrifice little baby bitch boy in the
Right.
wheelchair? And of course, we don't see her make
He's
the
in
decision.
like an 1800s wheelchair too, so he looks even more.
Yeah, just
We're like,
Completely paralyzed.
ha. We hope she picks you.
yeah, and of course she ends up picking him. So he's getting prepared. They shove him inside of a bear carcass, which is pretty fucking badass.
Well, and this is where we find out. Well, like I said earlier, like whoever we bring to sacrifice, they'll match it. Is like you don't know up until that point that it has to be an even amount of inside blood and outside blood. So they weren't just bringing people to sacrifice to use them. They were sacrificing their own people to make this work.
Right.
And that was kind of like, it doesn't make the cult seem any better. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying it's any better. It was a nice gesture saying that, we have to give as much as we take.
Yeah.
And that's the whole kind of thing.
It's all about the balance.
It's all about the balance.
And then they needed one person who was a cheater and just an asshole, I guess, because they put him in a bear. I don't understand how they would have done this without somebody who was like, in
and
their
that's why
eyes
you can
bad.
tell they were definitely grooming him to be the choice.
Yeah.
Like they were turning Dani against him, which she should have been
Oh,
anyway.
Right.
But they were
I-
definitely turning her judgment towards
because
him.
they already had the bear before they even got there. So
Oh yeah, they knew some
They
bitch
were
was getting a bear.
Right. This isn't the first time they've done it. Also, I feel like they could have just bent the story however they wanted it to go, because it was like a completely secluded cult and no one would have said if they did it
and they'd
wrong.
be like, oh nope, this is the way.
This is the way now. We picked that one. La la la. But they use an old lottery machine to pick one of their members.
And it's
to
a
have
waste of time
choice.
because
Yeah, we know we're
course.
picking
They-
Christian.
yeah.
Because they wasted all the good stuff on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets the bare necessities and placed center mass.
Don't relate it to the Jungle Book, Steve.
And then they have their 2 volunteers from the community that are going to burn themselves. And then they have a bunch of
is
the
super
dead bodies and all that they set up ritualistically throughout this yellow barn.
And they really fixed up the faces of the original 2
Yeah.
elders.
Yep.
Yeah, they really make them
Who-
look pretty.
Yep.
Yeah, a
And
lot
they,
of,
they had a lot of life sticking out of the with
cemetery
branches
wax
and-
or whatever.
Yeah.
it was-
What
their
do they
whole
call
face
it?
was cemetery wax.
Yeah, and then they light this thing ablaze. They just watch this thing burn, and then the 2 volunteers.
Yeah, they give him like a drug or something beforehand, and they
Yeah.
say, "May you feel no pain."
Oh, and fucking like Derek
Oh my
over
God.
here is just like, no, I'm good. Holy fuck!
He
Yeah,
starts.
he's screaming.
He starts screaming.
It's
and
like,
then-
dude, you volunteered. Take it like a man. You'll be fine.
you're not taking that like a man.
Yeah.
I'm screaming like a bitch.
But like, the whole crowd is now feeling his pain, and like,
Mm.
I feel like this is where Dani is starting to kind of feel that too.
She starts to get it.
Yeah, because
she
she's
starts to
like stumbling
understand.
around. She's screaming. She's crying, and like,
Steve.
I don't know if that's like her finally snapping, and she's like,
Oh, yeah.
holy fuck.
Well, I think her snap is when she goes from bawling to just like, now she's
Yeah, now
smiling.
she finally smiles. The
Wow.
first time in the whole fucking movie, she
Yeah.
finally smiles.
Like a real smile. She smiles with her eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with her teeth too. It was creepy. It was creepy. But that's where like this classic line that's been used in a ton of movies is it's like she's starting to believe.
Yeah.
It's when she fully accepts everything that's happening around
Morpheus
her.
is in the background.
Yeah.
She's starting to
And
believe.
then she dives inside of Agent Smith and blows him up.
And
Cool.
she makes the jump. Nobody ever makes
Yeah.
their first jump.
Yeah.
And her smiling is the last scene.
Yeah, that's what we're left with.
And that's the like 2.5 seconds of like, yeah.
yeah.
You did
Yeah.
it, girl.
And,
And
you,
it's
you know she's going to be the best May Queen for the next 90 years. Well,
it's one of those moments where
50.
you look at the movie and you go, this was not a normal horror movie, because like it, and that's like the brightest scene too.
Yeah.
They like crank up the brightness and everything is like like crazy, and it's so weird how it starts from really dark to really light. Most movies move in the other direction.
Yeah.
It's the daytime when they get into the shit.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not night.
You hear the clock strike midnight somewhere, and then
Yeah.
people start dying. It's like, no, we're going to kill you at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's our religion. And
And the sun's out, and we really like flowers.
Yeah.
time is a circle, and life is a circle.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
at 72,
You're done.
you're
That's
out
it.
of there.
But no, I
You're
mean,
done.
I will honestly say you should watch this movie. You need to go into it open-minded, especially once it gets to the whole old lady singing naked scene. But it does have some great theming in there. It has a great story, and it is unsettling. Like, it's not jump scares. It's not what you're going to be expecting, but it is unsettling. It's uncomfortable.
There's some flashes of things and some things in the background, so it's definitely meant to watch multiple times.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say minimum twice.
Yeah.
The second time I
Do a bunch
like
of mushrooms.
that first scene hits so much harder when
Yeah.
you know what's
Yep.
coming. Because the first time you're watching
you
it, we were
don't-
like,
you don't
"What's going
understand.
on?" And then you go, "Oh!" But when you feel it coming,
You're
it's
like,
like,
I gotta watch this to get to the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like the knot already preformed in your stomach, and you're
Yes.
just like,
and you can really feel the tension of all
And
of
that's
those moments.
That's when the phone calls ahead of time.
Ooh.
You're like, we don't like him. Does he not know the rest of the movie? He should
Yeah.
be comforting her because everybody dies.
That phone call that he was like, I don't want to pick this up, was the phone call
Yeah.
that changed everything.
Just remember, guys, always answer your phone. You never know when
Or
someone's going to be
never-
screaming on the other end.
Or
Yeah.
never answer the phone and
And jump off a cliff.
never go to Sweden. That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
learned. No matter what you see,
Don't
that
go to Sweden.
there are these happy people that wear cool clothes. They're gonna murder you and sacrifice you to the source.
And don't drink the mushroom tea.
Never drink the mushroom
Yeah.
tea.
Um,
It was always don't drink the Kool-Aid,
And
but
it
we had to
wasn't-
switch it.
Yeah.
nobody that knew each other gave like they specifically only did drugs from strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Why
the
not?
best kind of drugs.
Well,
'Cause
they
it
can't
was-
bring drugs into the country. They could only do the drugs that were there.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
provided drugs.
Even so, you're gonna show me exactly where you got these mushrooms.
Join us for a 2 p.m. luncheon. Drugs will be provided.
Drugs.
Did you see all
Will be
those
provided.
tarps, those like blue tarps covering things? It was probably
Yeah.
all of their drugs that
Well,
they
that
grow
was
themselves.
to keep the darkness over the mushrooms they were
yeah.
growing. Yeah,
Mhm.
keep the moisture and
Yeah,
on the cow dung.
Yeah.
that's all their drugs.
But
Drug
this
farm.
just a content aside, the mechanics of this movie, like where the camera is and how the camera moves and the way they show us the movie, is just as unique and powerful as the story they're telling.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's super nice to see a horror film where you can see everything.
You could
Yes.
see it all.
Yes. But yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't. And I mean, that pretty much is the end of our summer.
Yeah.
That's it. No
We're
more
done.
summer.
So
So it's basically spooky season now.
yeah, join us as we get back into spooky season.
So we ended the summer of fun with,
With
the
horror.
opposite. It was still the summer, but no
Yeah.
fun. So we got
Yeah.
50-50 on that. And now we're going to go into maybe a couple movies and then some horror films.
Yeah, it's nothing but depressing shit from here on out. I'm talking Saving Private Ryan. I'm talking.
We're gonna watch Prisoners again.
We're gonna watch Prisoners again.
and we're going to watch it.
Schindler's
Really sad.
List. Here we go.
And everything we watch is going to be in French.
Yes, it will be subtitled. This
Well,
is gonna be very uncomfortable.
until next time.
Steve's going to hate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for the summer.
And
Don't-
happy Midsummer.
Don't kill your parents.
We'll catch you guys in the fall.
Bye.
Bye.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. I lied.
He touched the butt.
The Force will be with you. Always. Why is the rum always gone? Go ahead. Make my day.